Hello, good evening to all of you. We are at Memery Farm, which is owned by Will Memery. Just to give you an idea, just 1 mile this direction is Barboursville Vineyard. So we are very close, and Will actually has been supplying us for quite a while now some incredibly succulent and flavorful greens, and I thought that to come and visit him and see his place. And then today we're going to also talk about salads. What is a salad? How we eat it? What wine we want to pair with it? So, but now it's here's Will. Welcome. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for coming. Thank you very much. Yeah. So I've been in business since 2019, so about 2.5 years. I primarily grow my greens in a hydroponic system. So yeah, thank you very much for coming out. We can go in and check it out.
Let's go check it out.
Okay. So this is called it's what's known as a nutrient film technique system. So I start all my plants in this material. It's called Oasis. So it comes in these sheets, and then it's got holes already made in it. So you just drop seeds in, soak it first, drop seeds in. I primarily grow head lettuces in these. And then for the mesclun, I grow a mixed green. I grow in these coconut coir plugs, and so they're made from the husk of a coconut. And so I start them. These I start just on this table, and the rest I start in these humidity domes. And then once they germinate, once they begin to grow, I switch them over into this starter table. And so this just runs half-strength nutrients. And they stay in here until they're about this size, till they start to get true leaves, and the roots look pretty good. And then I transplant them over into the big system. And so each of these trays has 18 sites. And the way this works is there's a large reservoir. There's a large reservoir down at this end. And I keep about 200 gallons in here. And then this just runs off a large pump, and it comes through this PEX pipe here. Comes up to these feed lines, and it runs off these tees, and then it comes through these mini feeders, and they go right down, right past the plant roots into a collection area down there, and then just runs back into the tank and recirculates. So it's a closed loop system, so it uses quite a bit less water than traditional growing. I believe anywhere from 80 to 90% less water than traditional growing. And so kind of the key is just maintaining the nutrients in the tank and then keeping everything clean. So that's kind of the key to it.
Well, we've been enjoying tremendously to have fresh greens, fresh cut, perfectly beautiful, to serve with our salads at Palladio Restaurant. It's been a blessing for us and awesome. And so what happened here?
Oh, okay. So so I heat this greenhouse with a ductless heating system, and we had a night late last week, where it got I believe it was 4 degrees outside, and so this was a learning experience for me. When it gets that below 5 degrees, the ductless system actually turns off to sign it as it's a self-preservation sort of protocol with those. So it got quite cold. The greenhouse is basically unheated, probably from 1 o'clock in the morning until maybe 8 o'clock when I came out. And so everything actually survived. There was, everything was frozen. These lines were all frozen. the lettuces actually survived, but the tomatoes, obviously, they can't tolerate it, so they didn't make it, unfortunately.
Well, I'm sure you already thought about put some measures in place next time it
Yes, yeah.
happens.
So now I'm gonna
Yeah,
definitely supplement on
yeah,
those
a
nights
little
with
bit.
space heaters, and yeah, exactly. So
Fortunately, we don't have a lot of those nights that are so cold.
yeah, correct.
For
Yeah.
us, actually, winter cold is not an issue with vines.
Yes.
They resist the buds, even if they're dormant. They could be killed if we go -3, -4.
Really?
But not all of them. It depends from each variety.
Okay.
Some varieties they tolerate to -10.
Wow.
Other they are start to be susceptible at -3, -4.
Okay. Okay. Nice.
And but I had to adapt also to this climate
Yes.
with grapes, especially in the spring when I came in 1990. I figure which part of the farm were actually more under threat of frost,
Right. Yes.
and so I I feel for you, but you know what? It's farming has its challenges at times,
It does. Yes.
and you know, and us as farmers, we have to learn to adapt, do all we can to prevent some disasters, and then that's the only way to sleep well the next night when you say, "Hey, I've done all I could.
Right. Yes.
More
Like
than
just
this,
do your best. Right.
yeah."
Yeah. That's all you
But
can do. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It was. I mean,
so how old
it's.
were these tomatoes?
So these were about 7 or 8 months
Yeah.
old. So yeah. I mean, they certainly. I got quite a few tomatoes off of them during that time. So
Yeah.
I was pleased with them, but they were getting toward the end of their life cycle, anyways. I think
Okay.
so. It's not a total disaster, but
Right.
I think I probably could have gotten a few more off of them. As you can see, they still have quite a few on them, but it's okay. So this is only a 30-foot wide by 48-foot long greenhouse. So it's about 1,500 square feet. For the tomatoes, I mean, I was probably getting about 2 pounds per plant per week. So I had a dozen, so it was about 24 pounds of tomatoes a week I was getting from them. And then for these, so I have 60 trays, each with 18 sites. So I harvest, I would say, on any given week, maybe 64 heads of lettuce and probably about the same of the mesclun, so the mixed greens. So that ends up being, I would say, 10 pounds or so of mixed greens I get per week. And then I also do microgreens back here. So for the microgreens, I generally grow on these jute mats. So jute's just sort of a fibrous material. It's also how burlap is made, I believe, is from the jute plant. So I grow on jute, I grow on just burlap sheets, and I also grow in just this loose coconut coir. So I just will fill up. So for example, the beet there is growing in just the loose coconut coir. And so I probably do, I would say, 10 or so varieties of microgreens right now. And for these, I harvest, I would say I do about 2 full trays of those per week. So it's about 12 or so of these flats of microgreens. So it ends up being about 24 ounces, I would say, which they do tend to go a long way. People usually, use them as a garnish.
Pea shoots.
Yes, yeah, pea shoots, yeah.
Nice.
There's some slightly more mature pea shoots on the far side over there.
Nice.
But yeah, I do a mustard green. There's a collard green on the far side. There's a mature beet, a bull's blood on the far side. This is a spicy mix, so it's an arugula and kale mix. Plain arugula down below. This is a mint microgreen here, and that's fennel down at the far left. Oh, these are pea tendrils, and that's a fennel there. So yeah, so for microgreens, they have traditionally been thought of as sort of a luxury item, used by chefs in restaurants as generally as a garnish. So you might sprinkle a couple microgreens on top of a dish, and I think people just haven't been educated on the use of them because they can be used just on their own individually. You can make a salad completely of microgreens, and I think what people don't know is that it's just you harvest them just either at the cotyledon stage when they first have their first leaves, or at the true leaf stage when they start to have more than 2 leaves come out. And I think depending on the variety of the microgreen, it's estimated that they're anywhere from 25 to 75 times more nutritionally dense than full-grown vegetables. So I think it's just a matter of educating people, on the facts about them, and I think people would be much more apt to use them in their daily cooking, in their daily lives.
I actually noticed also that the flavor is a lot more intense.
Yes.
Actually, than the full-grown green, which is fascinating.
Yeah.
In particular, I did sprout at home, occasionally in my kitchen, some radishes.
Yes.
And they're unbelievably sharp.
Yes. Yeah.
Versus a fully grown, fast-growing radish sometimes is not very sharp. So
yeah,
that I think connects with the fact that all the energy of the seed it's actually used in a small area.
Small area, yes.
And then it's a great healthy way to eat less and eat more nutritious.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely correct.
Are there other fortunate people that get your beautiful greens?
Yes,
around?
Yeah. So in addition to Barboursville, I sell to a few local restaurants, and then I also do a pop-up market here at the farm on Wednesdays and Saturdays.
What time?
It's from about 11 o'clock until about 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Nice.
So yeah, it's contactless. So I set out a cooler and fill it with microgreens and lettuce, and people can come, and I accept PayPal and Venmo, so it's completely contactless. People can just come and get what they want and go. Yeah.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I'll see you probably on Wednesday when you bring our fresh stuff tomorrow morning.
Yeah, looking forward to
it.
Right. Yeah, thank you, Luca.
Thank you. Well, you made me hungry, so would you just cut me a couple of portions of salad and take back at the vineyard, and it'll be my lunch.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be happy to. Yeah. So to harvest, I just sort of grab it near the base, and it's one cut across, and I'll give you a couple. Okay, there you go.
Okay. I'm happy. I'm very happy. Fresh salad for lunch. There you go. Well, I just got home. I'm gonna prepare a couple of salads and to pair with our Pinot Grigio and Barbera. But I'm just gonna get a couple of things from this cold greenhouse. It's not heated that I have here, where I grow some winter salads. So, yeah, here basically is I just have a very small space heater, and I can only grow vegetables that are capable of basically freezing and thawing back, like this is mash. And then actually for this salad, I just know, Jason. Yeah. So for this salad, what we're just gonna get a little bit of arugula and give a little bit of a bit of sharpness, a bit of interest, flavor. I'm not even gonna wash it. It's nothing on it. It just grows really well. Then is also here is a little bit of miner's lettuce. The miner's lettuce actually can hold all the way down to slightly below zero, completely freeze and thaw. This is some radicchio, also very resistant to cold. So anyway, let's go in and fix the salad. Well, and now we're gonna just put together a couple of salads, pair a couple of wine. We're gonna do 2 salads. One actually, it's with all the greens from Will's Memery place. And then with a little bit of arugula to get a little spice. And we're gonna do 2 different, we're gonna do a dressing for both salads to pair. One we're gonna finish with some smoked salmon that is cured and also in some beet juice. And the other one is gonna be without the fish, but with a little bit of Parmigiano Reggiano. So first thing, very simple. This is something that I've been making for a few years. It's a very quick preparation, which basically just some radishes and some onion. I'm going to chop them. All right, now we have our radishes and some onion. I prefer red onions, but it turns out I don't have much left. So I'm just going to use some white onion. And to this, we're going to add a little bit of vinegar and a little bit of brown sugar. Or another alternative, it's also to add some rice vinegar. That's also very good because there's a balanced sweet and tart in some type of rice vinegar. But I'm just going to use some vinegar from our old barrels that we started actually back in 1991. I'm going to just cover it and actually microwave it for 1 minute. I really despise, personally for my taste, raw onion on a salad. They're too sharp, they're too invasive, and I don't find them pleasing. So by doing this, 1 minute on the microwave, they cook and actually they lose that sharpness and really got a very nice pickling taste. Actually, one thing I was forgetting was a little bit of sugar. You know, just a pinch of cane sugar on top, and off they go. All right, this just came out in the refrigerator, and a little bit of the film, actually, as they cook in the microwave, the film retracts in, and what it does is really pushing together in contact of the vinegar and the sugar. So we're going to let this rest for several minutes. When it's cooler, then we're going to use it. All right, here we just remove this, as you see, all the vacuum. We're going to move it. Actually, they're still a little bit too warm, so what we're going to do, I'm just going to put it in here and then just spread them out a little bit so they cool off. But basically, after this pickling, all I add in here, it's a bit of salt, putting down an amount that I think will spread evenly into these 2 salads. We're going to put our oil, extra virgin olive oil from Tuscany, from one of the family estate. A touch of mustard, not too much. This is very strong mustard. And then basically it's ready. We're just gonna mix it and it's ready to go. Very easy. Salad, we just take our mix from Memery Farm. I have some leftover for dinner actually. And we're just going to put the salad here. I'm going to put the arugula. And we're going to just mix it randomly. They all spread out. And off we go onto our plates. Great. There's some mustard greens also here. Beautiful. Okay. Now we just simply put a little bit of our pickling on. And this beautiful flavoring juice drizzle on top. Good. Then, as I said, one we just finished with a little bit of Parmigiano Reggiano for our Pinot Grigio. And this one, actually, we're gonna cut some beautiful beet cured and then cold smoked salmon that I remove from our pantry, from our restaurant. Thank you, Chef Mike Clow, for making this beautiful salmon. And we're going to just place it on the salad. And there it is. So we're going to actually, I'm going to actually pair it. I would suggest to pair like with Pinot Grigio, this dish. And then with salmon, which actually has quite some fat, quite some richness, we're going to go with some Barbera. Not much tannin, but it's a bit more robust. And this is it. Salad and wine. Simple, but I thought today I really want to communicate to you that to have a great meal is not necessary to have complicated recipes, but it's important to seek for great wholesome ingredients. And even in the winter, I'm happy that we can have such great resources just not far from Barbosa Vineyard. And so to that I say thank you, Will, for providing us some great greens through the winter. And I'll see you next week.